Good morning, lovely friends. How are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I'm well. It's a bit of a grim day. Actually, it's not a grim day. It's not wet. I was going to say it's not wet. I've just seen it started spitting on my window. But it's definitely not a day for me being outdoors today because I've just done a couple of heavy days in the garden. So it's time to be at home and rest my legs a bit. So I thought we'll get on with our low spend year challenge. Yay! Today it's all about clothes and shoes. How are you all doing with it? How's it going? Are you keeping records? Are you saving? Are you setting your money aside into a separate savings account so you can see how it's growing? I hope so. I went, a couple of weeks ago, if you remember in February I was saying how right back at the beginning of this, I hadn't set a specific goal, and now I do have a specific goal. I would like to save £200 this year, and that will be for 1 week either holidays. I don't mean holidays and going away somewhere, but just a week of not doing anything. No videos, no shop, nothing. Just a week of reading, maybe, poodling in the garden. So yeah, 2 1-week holidays, or, and this was the big lesson this year, 2 weeks in terms of, it's sort of like sick pay. So if I ever did get sick again, I hope I won't get that sick again, and I need to, I'm not producing videos, that sort of thing. It's just a little bit of a safety net and reassurance. So that's my goal, and I thought, right, I want to have a separate savings account for it. So even if it's literally just putting 4 quid in there, or 2 quid, or a tenner, or 20, as in when I've got those little bits of spare money and savings from other things, I want to put it in there because I want to see it grow, because that's a really good incentive for me, and I hope it is for you too. So I popped over the road to my bank, and they've shut. Just like, I totally forgot they were closing the branch. It's so annoying. I've got 1 branch left on my high street out of, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there were at least 5 branches when I moved in. Anyway, there's a sign on the door saying, customers don't want, basically it was saying customers don't want a branch, everyone's doing it online. And I thought, well, there we go. That's the lie that all the banks are saying, isn't it? Because that branch, I can see it from my front window. If I look out my front window, there is always a queue of people to use it. So them trying to say that none of us are using branches it's just a lie. It's basically a big fat saving for them, isn't it? They don't have to employ cashiers. Ugh. So I will have to do that online, which I haven't done yet, but I will get round to. Now, just before we dive into the world of clothes, this is a really, really important message for everyone in the UK. I say UK, I don't know whether it's England, Wales, Scotland, I don't know if it's Northern Ireland too, but it's to do with our fuel prices. Now, I don't want to get into the doom and gloom of it all, things are going up. But there's something we all need to do at the end of March. So at the end of March, the price cap is going to increase. That's the price cap the government put on how much the fuel companies can charge. It went up in October, it's going to go up again at the end of March. It's going to go up basically from the 1st of April. So in other words, where it's capped here, it's going to go up, which means our bills, which were capped here, our bills are going to go up. It's probably going to happen again in October. So on the 31st of March, please all take your meter readings. Now, I do my meter readings every single month anyway. I'm a bit nerdy about it. Partly it helps me to see, I think, oh gosh, I've used quite a lot of gas this month, I need to turn the heating off, that sort of thing. But also it's that thing of, I don't want my fuel company estimating my usage, and this was one of the issues with Auntie Teapot's place. They estimate it at way more than I'm using. I'm getting charged for stuff I haven't used because it's based on an estimate. So I think it's a good habit to do your meter readings monthly anyway. If you don't, please do it on the 31st of March and submit that meter reading, because if you get a bill at the end of April that's an estimate, they could be overcharging you for usage in March before, when you were on that lower, should be on that lower price. So get an accurate reading, submit it, and you'll be charged at the current rate for your March usage. Don't let it slip into April. Yay, right. I did that as well back in October, so I think it must have been September the 30 days, half September. Yeah, it must have been the 30th of September I did it, knowing that the price cap was going to be raised on the 1st of October. Or was it the 3rd? I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This time around, 31st of March, do a meter reading. Take a breath, Vivi. Right. Yeah, I'm just kind of, my mind's a bit everywhere today. I've got all sorts of things on today. I'm juggling probably a few too many things in one go. And I've got a friend coming over to pick up. I've printed a document for her because her printer was broken. She's coming around shortly for that. And in the process of printing that for her, my printer has now broken. It's like all the printers are breaking. Ah! So, you know, maybe I won't be putting anything into my savings account this month. Buy a new printer. I'm not going to buy one just yet because I don't need one right now. And I was trying to think, what do I use my printer for? Can I do that? Can I do what I do without printing? Anyway, that's something for me to think about. Clothes. So the first thing I would say with clothes, it's what I say about pretty much anything you buy. I always say, buy absolutely the best you can afford. Often it's the more expensive version of something. I'm not saying expensive is necessarily best always, but generally speaking, I'm talking about buying quality, really, really good quality. And when you're buying really good quality, generally you're paying more for it. But the idea is that you know, for instance, with my kitchen saucepans, you know, cast iron saucepans, they're expensive. I've got a Le Creuset one and one that's a Le Creuset knockoff. But they were sort of, I think, £20-30. But I'm never ever going to buy another pan in my life. And even when I'm long gone, those pans can be passed on and used by someone else. So yeah, always buy the best possible quality you can so that it lasts. And bearing that in mind, you know, look, the perfect example would be a t-shirt for £2 from Primani and a t-shirt from, I don't know, someone like People Tree. I've used their clothes quite a lot in the past and they last for so long. They're great. But they cost, say, 20 quid. But that's all sort of tied up in ethics as well. It's my ethical buying. The other thing with that is, bearing in mind, if you're going to buy something that is going to last forever, not quite forever, but a long, long time, don't be tempted, and I'm sure most of you aren't anyway, but don't be tempted to buy high fashion items. You know, buying something now that, you know, in 4 or 5 months' time is just going to look plain weird because no one's wearing it anymore. The perfect example would be, for those of you old enough, when did they come into fashion? I think I was at uni, yeah I was. Rah-rah skirts and puffball skirts. Oh, puffball skirts. What were we thinking? But anyway, yeah, they were really expensive. And it was obviously one of those things, it was only going to last that year and then it would be, they'd look dreadful. I didn't buy one, I made one, made a number of them. So yeah, buy kind of classic, simple pieces that are really well made from really good fabric. Your fabric quality is really important, that hopefully will last you a long, long time. I'm just looking at my notes, that's why my eyes are flicking down. But I've put them in good order today, so hopefully I won't get lost like I did with that video back in January. Anyway, and the same applies to shoes when possible too. I've got, excuse me, well you saw when I was decluttering, I've got my very very simple leather brogues. I've got them in black and I've got them in a sort of tan, brownish colour. They kind of pretty much go with everything. It's a classic shoe, a brogue, isn't it? You know, if I could have been wearing it 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago. A brogue is never ever going to go out of fashion. And having it in black and having it in this sort of brown tan, that pretty much goes with any colour combination, any style combination of clothing I wear, whether I'm wearing jeans or a tea dress, they'll work. So they weren't cheap when I bought them. I think they were probably about £75 a pair, which is a huge amount of money. Eek. And bearing in mind that that's decades ago. However, oh gosh, I haven't been shoe shopping for, you see, this is the point. I haven't been shoe shopping for, I actually can't remember. I'm going to suggest that I haven't been shoe shopping since the mid-noughties. I haven't been shoe shopping for 15 to 20 years. I haven't needed to because those shoes last and last and last. What would that be in today's money? I don't know. Let's say it's 100 quid in today's money, and let's say you could buy 3 pairs of shoes for 30 quid. Again, I really don't know with the prices because I just haven't shopped in all that time. Yeah, you might be able to get 3 pairs of shoes for 30 quid, but how well made are they? How long are they going to last? The thing about my lovely old brogues is I can re-heel them. They have been re-heeled on a number of occasions. I could even eventually, when it comes to it, I could have them resold. Now, it's not cheap to do those things. I think it's about £20 to resole. Someone was mentioning that recently. But £20 to resole a really favourite pair of shoes. That's still cheaper than buying a new pair of shoes. So yeah, I think it's one of those things of, you know, £100 for a pair of shoes is a lot of money. I really appreciate it's a lot of money, but it's one of those things, if you can set a bit of money aside to save up for them, assuming you're not desperate for a pair of shoes, like you're walking around barefoot, but if you can save a bit, save a bit, save a bit, save a bit, and eventually, there we go, you can buy that pair of shoes. That could be the last pair of shoes you ever buy, as long as you're not buying, like I said, the high fashion. And that leads me very neatly, I do like a nice little neat segue into repairs. Don't worry, I am going to get on to cheaper clothes in a second, but repairs, repair your items straight away. So, back to the shoes. If the heel is wearing down a bit, get them re-heeled. Don't keep wearing them so that you end up with, if that's where the heel should have been, they're worn right up there, because there'll come a point when even the most brilliant cobbler is not going to be able to put a new heel on because you've worn too much away. So get on with it as soon as that wear is obvious. With clothes, if you catch, I seem to get holes at this part of my arm because of my neighbour's brambles, but fortunately that hedge has been cut right back now, as you saw last year. But if you get a little snag, a little rip, tend to it straight away, even before things go in the washing machine. In the washing machine, as your clothes kind of rough and tumble in the water, it's going to pull that hole out of shape, the edge will fray more. Get onto it straight away. Button falls off, get it straight back on. I know, it's kind of boring, isn't it? But that's making our clothes last longer, so we're not having to buy new clothes all the time. We're saving our money. There are so many occasions when I've got a little spot on the end of my sofa. That's my clothes repair pile, and sometimes I leave it until there's 2 or 3 items. I think, can't be bothered. But it's one of those kind of, it's almost cemented in my head. It's one of my Sunday evening jobs. When I'm sort of nice and quiet, I've had a busy week, just really winding down, getting ready for another week to come. It's that perfect thing for me to just sit quietly and so repair my clothes. And like I said, yeah, even if I can only get 1 or 2 more wears out of an item, I've got 1 or 2 more wears, rather than chucking it away straight away. And of course, you know, something like, say, a shirt, when it becomes not repairable, it can be cut up and used for patches to make something else, cleaning rags, whatever it is. And of course, and I still haven't got around to it, I've got a top that I really love. I love the shape, I love the pockets, it's been a great top, but it was beyond repair. It was so beyond repair. I've kept it though, because what I'm going to do is very carefully unpick all the parts of it. There's a sort of little band around the bottom, there's pockets, there's a bit of yoking, obviously the arms. Unpick the whole lot, press all those pieces flat, and they become a pattern for me to make the same top again, but out of, you know, hopefully I can get some material secondhand, because, let's just come on to that briefly. I hadn't thought about talking about this, making your own clothes. I used to make all my own clothes in my sort of late teens and right through my 20s into my early 30s. Partly I had a bit more time to do that then, partly because I could never find what I wanted in the shops, and partly because I've got ridiculously long limbs. My body, my trunk area is kind of normalish sized, but my limbs are inordinately long. And so in particular with trousers, I could never find trousers long enough. Of course now we've got specialist shops which sell long trousers. But yeah, I didn't have any lessons in how to do it. I started with really simple stuff and built my confidence, made so many mistakes along the way, had so many frustrations, had so many garments I threw across the room swearing. But, you know, I learned as I went and got better and better. The thing is, now, fabric is so expensive. It's almost prohibitively expensive for making our own clothes. I mean, a decent fabric for a sort of like a cotton viscose mix, or something that I would want for, say, making a tea dress, £15 a metre, and I would need probably I'd probably need 3 metres or more. And that's before I've factored in buying buttons or a zip or any of my other notions, or the thread. That's why I tend to look for secondhand now rather than make my own. But I do like making my own. I miss it. I might start again. So if you've got a sewing machine and you happen to have fabric, so you don't have to go out and buy it, have a go. Start with something really simple, maybe a pencil skirt or just a pair of trousers. I just said skirt, assuming, sorry, you're female. If you're, you know, male, a pair of trousers, pair of shorts, quite simple things to start with. A shirt, but that's collarless, setting a collar in. I'd say don't try and do something with a collar straight away, because that's a little bit more tricky. But yeah, certainly have a go. But even if you don't make your own clothes, please, please, please do repair your own clothes. And you know what, if you don't know how to, check out online, ask a friend how to show you how to do some darning. You can make a feature of repairs. I talked a little bit about this. I'll try to remember to tag the video at the end about you know, visible mending now. So if you've got a rip or a stain, you could always applique another bit of fabric on and make a little design of it. You might have to do it elsewhere as well to sort of make it look intentional. Perhaps if you've got a loose tunicky top like I'm wearing today, towards the bottom you could even put a pocket on the top to cover up a big hole that you've had to repair. You can repair the hole but it looks ghastly. Put a pocket over the top, no one will ever know. You'll forget yourself in no time. So yeah, don't give up on an item, have a go at fixing it, repairing it. Now, in terms of actually buying clothes, apart from those really expensive things, the obvious place is charity shops in the UK, or thrift stores, as I think you call them in the States. they're getting, well, certainly around me, they're getting more and more expensive. You know, it used to be that one of my local shops always had a £1 rail. They don't have a £1 rail anymore. So you still have to think twice before buying anything. I certainly do. My wardrobe, in terms of not the building wardrobe, the actual wardrobe, the contents, is still really quite small, probably compared to a lot of people. But it comes back to that thing all the time, doesn't it? Do I really need it? Have you got into the habit of asking yourself that question when you're out and about and tempted to part with some coins for something? Do I really need it? And if the answer is no, just walk away. Walk away from it. Distract yourself with something else. But yeah, if you do need something, think about charity shops, thrift shops. It depends where you live, of course, what the amenities are like, but there are also specialist second-hand clothes shops. They're not charity shops, so they're not as cheap as charity shops, but I know a couple that are great to go to. It's always fun to have a rummage. They're also the sort of places that might buy some of your old clothes. So there's one place that I've used in the past, and I'm going to have a little trip up there, I think probably in May, because I've got some of my summery dresses that I want to sell to them. There's no point taking those yet. But they can either give me cash, let's say they were going to give me 20 quid cash, or they can give you vouchers to spend in their store, and they double it. So it's 40 quid in vouchers if I shop in their store, or 20 quid in cash to take away with me. So what I always do when I sell things to them is, before I go and offer my items to them, I'll have a really good look around the shop and spot to see if there's anything that I need that would work really well. And if there is, I'll grab them, I'll put them over my arm, I'll go up to the counter, see what they'll offer me for my stuff. And if they say 20 quid or 40 quid in vouchers, I think, right, I've got 40 quid's worth of stuff over my arm. Yes, please, I'll take the vouchers. But if they say to me, oh, we're only going to give you a fiver, I'll say, can you give me a minute? I need a rethink. So yeah, check out second-hand clothes shops that are specialists, they're not charity shops. Also see if they buy things as well, your unwanted things. Of course, there are a ton of online sites. eBay, which I think a lot of us have been using for years and years and years. There are new ones coming on the scene. I've had to make a note of this. I haven't used it, I haven't looked at it. I hear about it all the time though. Vinted. Vinted. I think maybe it's just in the UK, but apparently there are no fees involved. So, brilliant, better than eBay. Of course, as a buyer, if you're looking on there, let's say I need a new pair of jeans. I go on eBay. I actually looked last night at jeans because I thought I could do with a pair of jeans because all my other jeans are a bit on the tight side. So as the buyer, it doesn't affect you, but if you're a seller, apparently Vinted has no fees. So yeah, don't be snobbish about second-hand clothes, because you know there are so many times I've looked on sites like eBay and found things, and they're brand new. They've still got the tags. You know, I mean, unless it was all in its original packaging, I don't think I'd buy undercrackers second-hand. Anyway, you'll have your own bar set on whether you would or not. Now, the other thing about buying second-hand, and I think this is particularly pertinent, say, with charity shops, is try to be flexible. Try to have a slightly more open mind than you would if you were going to the normal clothes stores. Because, for instance, if you think to yourself, right, I'd like a pink long sleeve shirt, and you go to your local branch of Next, for example, and you want it in a size 16, you go in and, the one in the window, there it is, it's size 10. I'm talking UK sizes now. Of course, you'll go to the rail and pick off a size 16. They'll have all the sizes from 8 up to 18. Of course, in the charity shop, it's never going to work like that. So, obviously you know your size, you're only going to be looking at the size 16. There's no point in looking at the size 8 because they won't have it in a size up. Even if you see a top and you think, I love it, I love it, I love it, they're not going to have it in your size. So don't even look. Don't get distracted and disappointed. Just look at the items in your size. And also be flexible in terms of what's more important to you. Is it more important that the top you want to buy is pink? Do you need it to go with something else? Or is it more important to you that you have a long sleeve top? So for instance, and this is one of them, although it's not perfectly long because my limbs are too long, after I'd done my wardrobe declutter, I thought, oh, I could do with a couple of long sleeve tops. So I left it at that, long sleeved. That was the only requirement when I went looking. Did I go specifically looking? It's more one of those things of when I'm in a charity shop, I'll always cast my eye over what clothes they've got. I think that's the other thing. I think it's hard to go out buying clothes secondhand. Fundamentally, I don't think you can go out with a shopping list. Okay, I want. It's more of a case of in the back of your mind. We talked about this, I think, in the very first video. It's just having an awareness of some of the things that you need, where you've got gaps. And this applies to everything, not just the wardrobe. Like with the ladle I bought, that had been in my mind for quite some time, and I thought, I'm not desperate to get it. I don't have to go out and get it today. I can wait, and then when the right one turns up, brilliant, at a charity shop, I'll snaffle it up. I'm not so desperate that I'm going to buy one new. So yeah, just try and be a bit flexible and not desperate to do it today. For instance, you go to the charity shop right now, right today, and they don't have what you're after, and it's a bit, you can get a bit downhearted about it. Change the way you think about shopping and think, have it here, but it's not urgent, so that if you do happen upon an item in 2 or 3 months, brilliant. A good one would be, at the moment, we're coming out of winter, obviously. And, well, we are here. Well, it doesn't feel like it today. I know some of you have still got snow. But if you're coming out of winter and your winter coat really has been on its absolute last legs and you're desperately needing a new one, especially if you have to wear it, say, for work and you need it to be a bit smarter for work, now's the perfect time to have that on your back burner, because there's going to be the shop's going to be selling off their winter stock. So you could think, great, I'll buy it now, it'll be for next winter. Again, don't be buying the high fashion items, don't be buying the coats that were dead fashionable this winter, because by next winter you might feel like a bit of a numpty in it. Everyone looking at you, why are they wearing that? Do you remember when the funnel necks came out, didn't they, about 2000? My friend had one, she looked so glamorous, it was white. Who wears a white coat? She did, because she's so glamorous. Anyway, there we go. Now, another thing to think about, so I've got my half an hour on the clock, because I don't want to go on too long. Clothes swapping. So they don't seem to be as popular these days as they once were, but I still see them advertised in my area, clothes swapping events where you take 2 or 3 decent items. They've got to be, don't be taking your rubbish, and so that's your entrance to the swapping party. Is you take clothes, you get entrance, and then hopefully you find something there and you swap and you go home with something new. Great. But what if everyone who's brought clothes to that event, what if they're all skinny millennials, and nothing's going to fit you, you're going to donate your clothes to the swap event and come away with nothing? That might seem a little bit harsh, and it's a bit, quite possibly it wouldn't work. But you could think about doing it with a friend. If you and a friend have similar taste and are a similar size, or a group of friends, do it privately. So it's not, at the community centre with a bunch of strangers. Do it amongst friends, because you never know. Something that actually I was going to say something that you're bored with, because I think so much of when we shop is to do with boredom, isn't it? We get bored of the clothes we're wearing, we get bored of the same food, we get bored of the same walk in the park, so we want to go on holiday, and etc, etc. So if you're simply bored with your clothes, there's nothing wrong with them, but you're bored with them, yeah, get together with a friend and see if you can do some swapsies. But the other thing that I think would be really fun to do with a friend, good friend, trusted friend, and I think you should do it as a swap with each other. Do you one weekend and do your friend the next weekend. So get your friend to come over, and look, even if it takes a bottle of wine or two, you know, make a date of it together and have some fun. Is get all your wardrobe out, get all your clothes out, I mean the lot, including belts and scarves and bits and bobs, you know, get it all out, and get your friend to dress you. Get your friend to style you, because it may be that she or he will put together, you know, a top with some jeans that you've never worn them together before, you would never think of doing it, and suddenly it's like, oh, I'd never thought of putting those two together. That's a really nice new outfit, and it feels like a new outfit. It's not new, it's all your own clothes. Be adventurous. Let her or him style you in a way that you wouldn't normally, but it might just shake things up enough for you to feel like, you know what, I actually have really nice clothes, I've got enough clothes, I don't need to buy anything else. Just reinvent what you already have. And you see, while you're doing that, by the end of the session, what might be useful or evident by then as well is to just have a really honest look at your stuff and a really honest clear out. Again, I talked about this with the wardrobe declutter. Be honest. Does it not fit anymore? Is it ever going to fit again? Like I was saying at the time, I had things in my wardrobe which are a size 10. I'm not a size 10. I'm a size 18 now. I mean, it spreads because I'm tall. I can kind of carry it. I mean, I need to lose a bit, but there's no way I'm ever going to be a size 10 again. I mean, I can't believe I ever was, but anyway, there we go. So yeah, be honest, have a declutter. In the process of doing that, you can set stuff aside to sell. We'll talk about that a bit more another day. But also getting all of that stuff, all that clutter and clobber out of the way, putting back your clothes that you're keeping in the new combinations that your friend has helped you to find, you will see where the gaps are. You'll see why you kind of keep grabbing the same pair of jeans every single day because you think you've got nothing to wear despite having a wardrobe full. Having that declutter, you can suddenly say, yeah, I am short of long sleeve tops, as was my case. Back to that thing of the secondhand clothes shops, then you can do a bit of research, find one in your area. If there's not one in your immediate area, is there one? Okay, you might have to travel a bit of distance to get to it, but is it in a town that would be nice to go to for a day out? More of that in another video too. So it's not the end of the world if there is a really good secondhand clothes shop that will buy your stuff from you but isn't in your immediate town. So yeah, have a clear out, make a mental list, have it there available for yourself, or write it on a piece of paper if you need to, keep it in your bag, so that as and when you are in charity shops and having, look around for, say, something else, you can think, oh, I'll just check the clothes rails, see if they've got a pink long sleeve top, and if they haven't got one in pink but they've got one in orange, oh, I like the orange, I'll have the orange. It's only £2.50, oh, it's buy two get one free, even better. Rattling through, looking at clock. I think that's the main thing, isn't it, is, do I really need it? The things I really think I do need, don't be in a hurry, keep the list on the back burner, think about swapping with friends, think about, just get everything out of the wardrobe, reinvent yourself, have fun with it, put things together a different way. Have fun. I think that's the main thing, is have fun with it. Oh, and just before I forget, it sort of came in a book I was looking at recently. It was phrased in a kind of crazy way, too much over the top. But what if you've got a really big, important event coming up? Wedding, an awards ceremony, a really important work function, you know, sort of black tie almost, either cocktail or floor length dress, that sort of thing. So you've got a really big important event coming up and you started looking around at frocks. I think this applies more to women than men, because I think for men the chances are, I do feel sorry for men in this way, it's probably just a suit, and it's probably just a suit you've got in your wardrobe anyway. But in particular for us girlies, when we've got a function and we need to be, you know, in a either formal or at least a kind of a more snazzy frock than we'd wear, you know, in the Cabbage Patch, have a look at hiring. I've got a little place up the road from me, and it's not, I mean, it's just not something I would do. I mean, I don't really get invited to that sort of thing anymore. But they do hire all sorts of formal wear, whether it be day dresses, the sort of thing you might wear for a wedding, right through cocktail, right through to evening gowns. And some of them are they're really fancy designers. I mean, it's bonkers, because for some of those top end, it's sort of like a couple of £100 to hire for 2 days. You think, my God, that's crazy. But on the other hand, to buy that gown would be £2,000. I mean, none of us in the market for a £2,000 gown, are we? I mean, I wouldn't mind having one for free, but not, you know what I mean. But a lot of those places will also do things that are a much more modest rate. I was thinking about this video, I've been thinking about it for the last couple of weeks or so. This whole hiring thing came up when Richard and Paul were here, we were chatting and I was mentioning this, hiring an Armani gown. I don't know how it was that one, but anyway, so I got in touch with a local place and found out they do dresses from £40 for a 2-day hire. So, you know, personally, I wouldn't look. I think what it boils down to is this: if you're going to be going out to buy a dress you're never ever going to wear again, ever, and that dress is going to be £200, hire it for £40. I mean, it seems mad to me to have a garment that costs £40 and only have it for one night. But you see what I'm saying. Rather than spending hundreds on a garment you'll never wear again, do think about hiring it. I don't know if they hire shoes. Oh, you know, shoes, it's like undercrackers. The idea of putting my foot where someone else's foot would be, and it just kind of brings back memories of putting ice skates on someone else's ice skates. Ooh, yuck. Anyway, there we go. So I'm looking, that clock's in the corner. I'm going to wrap up now, because any second now I think my friend's going to turn up to collect these documents I've printed for her. I hope there's some good ideas in there for you, and sometimes I think even if my idea doesn't work for you, it might prompt an idea of your own that does work for you. But it's that little golden rule for this whole year. Keep bringing it back to that same thing. Do I really need it? And if you don't, do without and put that money into your savings scheme for your £500 fridge at the end of the year, or your £200 for your bit of annual leave. Yay! I'm looking forward to a week's holiday next year. Right, on that note, I'm going to bid you all a fond farewell. I'm going to say cheerio to you all for now. I will see you again really soon, I think back in the garden, just when I was feeling like spring was in the air, and I'm looking at my window, it's pelting, lashing with rain. Oh, my poor friend should be walking up the high street now in the rain and the wind, bless her. I better get the kettle on, hadn't I? Warm her up when she gets here. Alright, lovelies, see you soon.